Hello, my name is Link, and I will be kind of doing a showcase build guide of my character that I'm playing. It's using some pretty neat mechanics to abuse some of the new uniques, mainly involving Melding of the Flesh, which is this one, and Ashes of the Stars, which are both dropped from either of the worlds. So what Melding of the Flesh is basically doing is that it is giving me 12 max res, all max res. So you can see my cold and lightning res go up to 90%. I'll do a quick map really quick of how the build kind of plays like. This is an Ignite DD Necro build, which was supposed to get nerfed, this league, and turns out it's still kind of good. Overall mapping feels pretty smooth, and I have pretty much all the defenses you can get in this game for the most part, so I pretty much feel unkillable. The only defense I'm missing right now is life regen, so degens can kill me during like boss fights, but I do have a plan for that. But in the meantime, yeah, I mean, you don't really have to worry about degens during mapping, because only thing that degens you is like poisons, but those are all avoidable, and mainly in boss fights, right? So yeah, pretty much Ignite Prolif makes quick work of the DD itself, of all the mobs, and it goes by pretty quick, these maps, and especially with the new shrine buffs, pretty much kind of have like a mini headhunter in every single map. And you just pop a Valdidi versus these bosses, and yeah, it's the map. Okay, so to go into more detail, so it is abusing kind of the new unique Melding of the Flesh. So what this does is it lowers all your elemental res, and the way I gain all my res back is I use purities. So if I turn off purity of fire and element, you can see my res is still good. Oh, something's weird here. I guess my res is just insane, huh? Oh wait, because I didn't have this on. Whoops. Okay, yeah. So you can see my res is uncapped here, and that's due to the melding. And then we make up for it by using purity of elements, and we use purity of fire to give our max res. So purity of fire itself is basically giving us another 7% of max res, and that's by scaling aura effect. So quick notes of how to make this build work. It's really simple. You basically need mana reservation to fit in all your auras, and in this case we're fitting in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 auras. So we're using Tempest Shield for spell block and block. We're using Period of Elements to gain ailment immunity and all of our resistances. Using Clarity for mana regen because this has mana issues. Determination to gain armor. Defines Mana to scale up because we can fit in an extra aura. And Period of Fire to gain 7% all max res, using R effect to scale and add the extra 2, and then using fire res, yeah. And yeah, so the items to make this work is a helmet like this, which is using the new implicits. You gain mana reservation efficiency from either of worlds, and then we use the essence of loathing, I think. Yeah, essence of loathing to get this suffix craft. We use the new Ashes of the Stars to get even more increased reservation. Technically, you probably don't need to use this, but overall, it's a really good gem because it's boosting all of your skill gems through quality, giving us like huge cast speed on Desecrate, giving us a bunch of benefits from on shield charge, molten shell, flame surge cast speed, etc. And you can get more benefits by having alternate quality gems, but I'm not min-maxed yet. And then obviously you get 20% reservation efficiency of skills. You can see on my amulet it's not even perfectly defined, but I don't need it, so it's good enough. On other alternatives you can use are probably like influence amulets, but those are much harder to roll, and why bother going through all that when you can probably just use this, right? And then we allocate charisma on the tree, so we get extra mana reservation. And then we use sovereignty, and yeah, so that will help our mana reservation. We don't use an enlighten in this build yet, but you can opt for one if you want to get more damage. So one option that you can do is drop Tempest Shield and then put in Malevolence instead, and that'll let you fit in another 50% aura if you want more damage. Okay, so other gear is really quick. For the weapon, you're just using a simple like damage. You want minions. Minion deals 69% increased damage, and that's because we have spiritual aid to give us damage. And then you can have fire damage, and triggers mainly used to trigger Wave of Conviction and Bone Offering. Other things are we're using shield charge, flame surge to get 25% more ignite damage on enemies, and then VMS to get extra EHP. We use Tempest Shield to get block and spell block. Flame Dash as our main movement skill alongside shield charge, and then Defiance Banner to scale our aura. And then we use Desecrate and Ignite DD. So yeah, that's whatever. And then lastly, we use Purity of Elements, Clarity, Determ, Purifier. So gems aside, I want to talk about the defensive mechanics. This build is kind of insane because if you look at my hideout, I'm 23k armor, pop flask, and that goes up to 41k. Not that much high life regen, but you can see my spell suppression is at 95% chance with flasks and 85% without. And I can get this to 100 with a little bit more investment. We have 90% all max res, and chaos res we just need to keep at around 0%. And then we get 75% spell block and 59% attack block with a Bone Offering up and the ailment immunity. We also get stun immunity through Unwavering Stance, and then we have CB immunity. So the only things that can really kill us is, like I said, it's degen. And because we're kind of like a ranged ignite dot build, like we can just walk around boss fights and not have to put ourselves in really like close proximity. So overall, defensively, this build is quite insane. It's like broken. Like it's one of the best. I mean, previous R stackers probably triumphed this, but in this meta and league right now, I'd say this is probably one of the best, especially with the investment I have in my gear. It's not very much. So in order to talk about, let's talk about how we can get all these max fire res. You can technically go for any type of max res with this jewel, but I opted for fire res because I get +1 fire res here, and this is what basically helped determined why I should go for it. If you go on the right side of the tree, then you get the +1 cold max res, and if you're on the top side of the tree, you get +1 lightning res. But since I'm a life build, I opted for the fire res, and then it's easier to get. So I get 1 from here, 2 from here, another 1 from here, and then another 1 from Soul of Steel. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5 from there, and then we use R effect to get I think another 2 more, so that's 7, and then we use 3 from the shield, so that's 10, and then yeah, I think that's good enough, right? Purity of Fire, it's 85, and then Purity gives us the other 5. So yep, that's our 15. So that's how we get our 15 all max res. And additionally, you can add spell suppression, which is what I did. So on my helmet, I have life and spell suppression. Spell suppression on my shield. The shield, I need to fix my prefixes, but I'll do that at some point. My boots, I have spell suppression and life. You can get, yep, this is pretty simple. Belt is pretty simple too. It's just life as well. And then gloves are just life and spell suppression. And then you can see I added the +1 level of socketed AoE gems with a level 21 period of fire, so I can get that extra bonus additional max fire res. And then I used implicits spell suppression to get more. Rings are going to be curse on hit, flammability, and life, chaos res, mana regen, the usual. And then helmet is going to be increased effective offerings with a increased effect of non-curse aura from skills. So you don't necessarily need this armor. Like an armor I was using was something like this one, I think. I was using this till like level 96, but you just need life and spell suppression, whatever you want. But getting the astral plate helps a lot because it gives you, influence mods, and then you also get a bunch of nice other things. It's also easier to get 6-link astrals using diff cards, so that's why I opted for this route. You can also use implicits as well to get offering effect and scale your period of fire as well. So that's another option using the new implicits from the influence mods. So those are, various options. So that's pretty much the gist of the build. I'm not going to go into detail about how Ignite DD works because I'd say that's like pretty common knowledge right now. But yeah, I just wanted to explain how this mechanic can probably be generically applied to other builds as well. But in this case, it works really well for Necromancer because you can get all these you can fix your res issues really easily with like this node, and then you have access to a bunch of nodes around the area. Like you can use Firewalker, Lightning Walker. You get res from here, you get res from here. So a lot of res nodes that basically help you out with the gearing process. And of course, you don't have to use you generally don't have to use a Tempest Shield and to get spell block and max block, and you don't need spell suppression. But I wanted to go for basically the god build. So I want to go into. So right here is when the guide pretty much can be over, but I'll just explain how to look at your POB. So I'm gonna import my POB profile from my account. Go here. Whoops. And I'll show you guys how I calculate and look at all my stuff. So in tick flasks, go to config. We're gonna put in Cyrus as our boss. Corpse life for DD is going to be 203299, I believe, and this is because we're using Arc champions. I'll put this in the notes here, and then we don't use power charges. We don't use frenzy charges. We don't have endurance charges. We are focused. We sometimes have onslaught on and off. Number of corpses is going to be like at least one. Have I been hit recently? Spawned? Yep. Number of corpses consumed recently. Probably like 5. Could be like probably like 5. Yeah, probably like, let's do like 7. Makes sense. Exposure type is fire. Crit chance is lucky when we're focused. Enemy is ignited, chilled, and shocked because of skitterbots. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So you can see my damage here is about 1.3 million, and that's 500k from hit, and then 757k from ignite DPS. So it's honestly not the highest damage build. It's honestly a pretty zdps build, but there's different ways you can scale the damage. And I think the min max build that I have here, it's this one. So it'll go up to like around 1.7ish, where the ignite is about 1.1 million. And having an ignite of like 1.1 million, it will be pretty comfortable enough to do every single content in the game, like relatively safely. And yeah, and just to look at my effective HP pool on my current character, it's around 200k right now on this character. And then obviously you can scale it up to get to like 300k with enough. For Pantheons, you're going to be using Solaris, and your secondary is dependent on what you do. You can use Chaos, you can use Grukdal, whatever you want. And actually, I think my goes up higher. Yeah. So with Molten Shell on, it's 247k EHP. So pretty beefy, And like I said, another option you can do is you can drop Tempest Shield, you drop Clarity, and then you can add Malevolence with an Enlighten to scale up the damage if you want a bit more damage. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and hope you guys enjoy watching Melding and Ashes of the Star go up in price. Peace out.